Okay.
Okay.
So we're going to get started, and then
So we're
hopefully we'll have our
going to
other
get
friends join
started, and then
us.
hopefully we'll have our other friends join us.
I want you guys to
I want you
let me
guys
know if you have any
to
questions,
let me know if you have any questions,
and I want you guys to participate.
and I want you guys to participate.
So for the gardening
So
workshop today, we're going to
for
be
the gardening
talking
workshop
about
today, we're going to
the
be
basics
talking
of
about
gardening, and we're
the
also
basics
going to
of
plant a
gardening, and
pizza
we're also
garden.
going to
Who
plant a
likes
pizza
pizza?
garden. Who likes pizza?
You guys like pizza?
You guys like pizza?
Awesome. Okay, good. So that's what we're going to be
Okay,
doing
good.
today, and
So that's what we're going to be
I'll
doing
show you
today, and
some ideas
I'll
for
show you
how you
some
can
ideas
plant your
for
pizza
how you
garden.
can plant your pizza garden.
Okay, so now this is your
Okay, so now
turn.
this
What do
is your
you
turn.
know
What do
about
you
gardening?
know about gardening?
Who wants to tell
Who
me what
wants
they
to
know
tell?
about gardening? You can tell me what you've done. Have you planted anything before? Do you have a garden at your house? Let's see. I have Haley raising her hand. So go ahead, Haley.
We planted some flowers at our house.
Yeah, you have flowers at your house? Very nice.
And they're broccoli.
And what?
We also have a vegetable garden.
Oh, wow. What do you have in that garden?
We have some cantaloupe, some artichoke. We have some broccoli.
Wow. How fun. Do you guys like to pick the vegetables and eat them?
They're not ripe yet.
Oh, okay. Well, when they are ripe, maybe you can take a picture of it and send it to me so I can see what your vegetables look like. I'd love to see that. Thank you for sharing. Does anyone else want to share what they know about gardening or maybe an experience they've had with gardening? Alik? Oh, we can't hear you. You want to turn your microphone on? If you click on the microphone, it looks like it's muted.
It looks like it's
There you
muted.
go.
There you go.
Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I can hear you.
It's that, see, there's so many shapes and sizes.
Yes, very
Yes,
good. So
very
many
good.
shapes and
So many shapes
sizes.
and sizes.
Is there anything
Is
else
there
you know
anything
about
else you
gardening?
know about gardening?
No, that's all I know.
That's all?
That's
Okay, well,
all?
we're going to
Okay,
learn
well, we're
some
going to
more
learn some
today.
more today.
Thank you for sharing. Does anyone else want to tell me what they know about gardening? Sage is raising her hand. Go ahead, Sage.
How do you unmute it?
It's
Oh,
unmuted.
there
Go
it
ahead.
is. Oh, yes, we have a big garden with different fruits and vegetables. We've harvested lettuce and bell peppers and zucchini and different things like that.
Very,
And it tastes a lot better than what you buy in the store.
very nice. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so
Okay.
let's go ahead and take a look at the steps to planting a garden. So the first thing we want to do is we want to make a plan. The second thing is that we want to choose our seeds or our plants. The third thing is we want to gather our gardening tools. The fourth thing is we want to prepare our garden. Number 5 is we want to plant and water thoroughly. And the sixth thing we want to do is we want to take care of our garden, because once we plant it, we don't want to just leave it. We have to care for it. Okay, so let's look at each step. And if you guys have any questions or you have anything that you want to add, you can raise your hand and then you can go ahead and speak. So the first thing we want to do when we make a plan is we want to choose an area for our garden. So you want to look for an area where you can plant something, and maybe in the front yard or the backyard, or maybe you might want to plant it in a pot. So you want to choose a space, and then you want to decide which plants you want to have. Do you want vegetables? Do you want fruit? Do you want herbs? Or do you want flowers? And something you want to think about when you're planting is that there are annuals and there are perennials. So annuals are plants that live for a single growing season. And so when you plant annuals, it'll usually live, so let's say we planted a plant that was growing in the springtime, that's an annual. When you plant that, it'll last for the spring and then it'll die and it won't come back. But if you plant perennials, those are plants that grow year after year, it won't die after that season, so it'll keep coming back. And if you remember, perennials are permanent, that can help you. So usually when I shop for flowers, I like to do perennials because they're permanent and they last longer, they stay. So I'm going to ask you a question later about annuals and perennials. So try to remember, annuals, they only live for a single season, and perennials, those are permanent. Those are the ones that keep coming back year after year. Okay, let's look at our next step, which is choosing our seeds or our plants. So if you want to look at this link that I have here, this actually takes you to this little map that you see at the top, and that's a zone area, and it'll tell you which zone we are in. So there's certain plants that don't do well in our zone, and so you want to make sure that you get plants that are in our zone. And if you go to Home Depot or Lowe's or your gardening center, most of what they sell is going to be in our zone. It'll do well in your yard. So you want to decide, do you want to choose seeds or plants? If you choose seeds, you're going to have more choices. There's going to be more of a variety, but they take longer. You have to be patient with seeds. You have to start them indoors, and it's going to take longer for them to grow. So if you choose plants, you're not going to have as many choices, but they're going to grow faster. And so when you're looking for plants, you want to make sure that you choose plants that have lots of leaves and lots of buds. And you want to look at the roots. Pick it up, look at the bottom, and if the roots are all tangled and they're growing out of the pot, you don't want to choose those. You want to choose ones that have light colored roots and they're not all tangled. And those are the plants that'll do best in your garden. Okay, so we're going to look at, do you guys have any questions so far? Or any comments? No? Okay. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to gather gardening tools. So having the right tools makes it a lot easier and more enjoyable when you're gardening. Now you don't have to have these things, but they help if you do. So you want to get a pair of gloves. You want to have a shovel or a spade because you're going to need that for digging. You're going to want to get some pruners or just some scissors, so that way you can cut your fruits and vegetables or your herbs or your flowers. A gardening fork is helpful for loosening dirt and also for pulling weeds. And a watering can is good because if you're planting from a seed, you want real gentle watering. So if you use the watering can, then that'll ensure that you're not damaging the seedlings. And so a lot of these things you can get at like the dollar store. They have gloves and shovels and things like that. I just found this. This was at Target and it was like $3. And so that's got your shovel, your spade, and then it's got a little fork to help you dig the weeds. So you can find some inexpensive items. But again, you don't have to have these for gardening. Okay, on to our next step. You want to make sure that you prepare your garden because you don't want to take them and plant them in dirt that's really hard and dry. So you want to make sure that you prepare the soil. So if you can add some gardening soil or some compost, take the dirt with your shovel and turn it, and you want to try to loosen it up and really get the air in there because plants grow better when there's air in the dirt. You want to remove any weeds, and it's best to work your soil when it's damp or dry. You don't want to work it when it's wet because then it's just going to be a big muddy mess and then you're not really going to be able to turn it. And then another tip is not to walk on your garden after you turn it, because if you step on it, then you're going to squish it down and you're going to make it hard, and then it's not going to have that nice air in there for the roots to grow. Okay, so the next step is to make sure when you plant your garden, you want to make sure that you water them thoroughly. And you can see the picture I have here. You can see the back of the seed packet. So you want to look, I know the seeds that I sent you guys didn't have the directions there, but if you want that information, I can always take a picture of it and email it to you so you have the information. But take a look at the tag or the seed packet and see how much sun does it need? How much water does it need? How far apart should I plant them? And so you want to make sure you're spacing them out correctly and that they're getting the right amount of sunlight. So after you plant your seeds, you want to water them thoroughly. You don't want to wait. They need water right away. And then you want to make sure that you water them every day or every few days. If you water them every few days, you just want to make sure that they get plenty of water. Okay, next step. Caring for your garden. You want to make sure that you visit your garden every day if possible, and make sure they're getting enough water. If they look dry, you can add some more water, but you also don't want to give them too much water. If they get too much water, then you can get mushrooms in your garden or you can get mold. So make sure they look healthy, like they're getting enough water. You want to keep your garden clean. You want to remove any dead plants or leaves that are there. And you want to make sure that you pull the weeds, because if you have a bunch of weeds around your plants, they're going to steal all the water from the other plants. So make sure that you pull those weeds, and you also want to try to pull them when they're little, because when they're little, they're easier to plant. I mean, they're easier to pull. So if you wait till they get big, sometimes they're really hard to pull out of the ground. Okay. And so have fun and enjoy gardening. I really want you guys to come up with some ideas for how you might enjoy your garden. Here's some ideas here. You can use the food you grow to make yummy dishes. You can share the food you grow with family and friends. You can cut your flowers and bring them in the house or give them as a gift. You can dry your flowers and make a garden journal. So why don't you guys tell me, what are some of your ideas for gardening? Sorry, I'm just getting over being sick. I have a little bit of a cough. So who wants to share, what are your ideas for gardening? What would you like to plant?
Well, I'd like to plant like a fairy garden, and then around it I can plant like lettuce around it, and then you can eat it after it's done growing.
Thank you for sharing. Does anyone else want to share what they would like to do with their garden? Alik? Alik, you want to unmute your microphone? Can't hear you, Alik. You want to unmute your Yeah, you are. They should be able to hear you.
A berry. Strawberries.
Plant strawberries? That sounds like fun. Anyone else want to tell us? Looks like Haley's already planting.
I'd like to plant pumpkins and then make pumpkin pie.
Sounds delicious.
Okay,
Okay, so before we get started with our planting, we have a little quiz to take.
Okay, so before we get started with our planting,
You can
we
either,
have a little quiz
Alex,
to take. You can either, Alexander, an orange tree. Alexander wants to plant an orange tree, and Haley wanted to plant flowers and herbs. She wants a big, beautiful garden. Thank you for sharing. Okay, so
Name the steps to planting a garden.
anyone name any of the steps to planting a garden? You can either type it or you can say it. Hey, Haley says dig a hole. Good job. Okay, Alik, make a plan. Plant the seeds. Thank you, Alexander, and Sage also. Very good. Okay, so true or false, annuals are plants that grow year after year. Very good, that is false.
You have to turn it with a shovel.
Good. We need to get it wet. We need to pull the weeds. Excellent. Okay. So who's ready to plant a pizza garden? You ready? Okay, I'm going to move over here. Over to our planting area. Okay, so if you have an egg carton, you want to cut the top off. And you can cut this flap off too if you want. And what's nice about this is that okay, so then you're going to take your dirt, and you can use your hands or you can get a spoon. Okay, and then you're going to just take and put a little bit of dirt in each one. You don't want to fill it all the way up because you want to leave space for your seeds, and then you want to be able to put dirt on top of it. Hmm? Yeah, that's good. Okay, so I filled it up about this much. I'm going to grab the seeds. Okay, so hopefully everyone has their seeds. And while you guys are finishing up with the dirt, we got these little labels at, I think, Walmart or maybe it was Lowe's. So these are labels that you can write on, and then you can put them in your garden so you know what you're growing. If you don't have these, you can use popsicle sticks. You can use tongue depressors. Okay, so it looks like we're still doing dirt. I haven't. Okay, so when you're ready, take your seeds, and you want about 5 to 7 seeds. For each one? Yes. One, two, three, four. Yeah, and I'm just going to sprinkle those right on top. And then I'm going to add some dirt on top of it. And then I'm just going to keep repeating that until I have all of my sections filled up. So you guys should have tomatoes and basil, sweet bell peppers, oregano, and onions. Okay, so you guys keep working. Let me know when you're done. Maybe you can show it to me. I'll keep planning. Did you guys see the oregano seeds? They're so teeny tiny. That's going to be hard to get exactly 5 to 7 oregano seeds, so just put a pinch full of them in.
These are pretty big.
So when you put your dirt on top, you just want to make sure that you're not pressing down. You just want to gently put the dirt on top. You don't want to press down. Because remember how we talked about that seeds and plants need air? If the dirt is aerated, then they'll grow better. Yeah. It's okay if you already press down. You want to just gently put the dirt on top. And then after we're done planting these, you want to make sure that you water them. And you can either do it with a watering can if you have one, or you can just put some water in a cup and just gently water it. And then you want to put these in a sunny window. You don't want to take these outside. You want to let them sprout while they're indoors. I don't know if you guys have ever grown onions before. I'm excited about growing onions. It's going to be fun. And these are white onions.
I typically pull out those and stick them.
So for the onions, it says that it harvests in about 110 days. So in 110 days, you will be able to pick your onions and use them. The tomatoes don't say how many days it takes to germinate. The other ones don't say, yeah. I think the onion's the only one that tells us how many days it takes to germinate. When you guys look at the bell pepper seeds, you recognize these seeds from when you cut open a bell pepper? Yeah, so maybe next time your mom's making dinner and she cuts open a bell pepper, you can take out the seeds and you can dry them in the sun and then try planting them. Okay, I think Alika's done. I don't know. Looks like Haley's still planting. Sage is still planting. Okay, so I wanted to talk to you a little bit about hardening off. And what this means is once your seeds start to sprout, you don't want to just take them outside and plant them one day. They're very delicate, so you need to kind of get them used to being in the sunlight. So about 7 to 10 days before you want to plant them, you need to take them outside in part sun, part shade, and let them be out there for a couple of hours. And then each day you want to increase the amount of time that they're in the sun. And that's called hardening off. And so that'll really prepare the seedling for being put outside. And it's better if you transplant your seedlings in the morning before it gets too hot. And if you have your cardboard egg carton like this, you can just take your scissors and you can cut them apart. If you look at the picture right here that I have on the slide, it shows how you can just take that and go ahead and put it right into your garden. And you want to make sure that you really soak the soil around your seedlings when you plant them. Give them lots of water. And here are some ideas for a pizza garden that are kind of fun. So if you have a big area outside where you have room to plant, you can make a big circle. And then you can use sticks or twigs from a tree. You can use string or yarn. And you can make it look like a pizza and divide it into sections. You can do that in the ground, or you can do it in a pot. And so you have a pizza garden that's shaped like a pizza. So that's kind of fun. And then when you're ready to make pizza, you can go out to your garden and pick all the ingredients that you need. Very nice. Sage and a leek. Your egg cartons look beautiful with all of your dirt and your seeds and your sticks. Looks great. And Haley, looks like you're planting a really nice garden there. Very nice. Yeah. Okay. So I wanted to share with you some of my favorite books about gardening. My most favorite book is called Tops and Bottoms. If you haven't read it, maybe look for it at the library next time you're there because it is the best book. It's my favorite book. And then I also like this book, Backyard Harvest. It tells you what to plant each month of the year and what to harvest each month of the year. So it's really helpful for getting to know when things are ready to pick and when's a good time to plant them. And then From Seed to Plant is a good one that gives you information about how plants grow and what they need. And then the bottom one here, A Fruit is a Suitcase for Seeds. That's a cute one. Osage has a little mini watering can. Very nice. She's going to water her seeds. And then the last one is Gardening Lab for Kids. It has some fun activities for you to do in the garden, like different art activities, science activities. I think there's one in there about making a bird feeder. So that one has a lot of fun things. And a lot of these books are available at the library. Okay. And so here is my email. I would love for you guys to send me a picture of your seeds when they start to grow, or when you put them in your garden. If you plant a pizza garden, I would love to see that. Or even if you pick your things and you use them to make a pizza, send me a picture. I want to see it. I would love to see it. All right. Does anyone have any questions, or do you want to tell me anything about your garden, what you have planned for your pizza garden? Okay, Sage, what do you have planned for your pizza garden?
Well, all these planted and go on a pizza. I'd like to harvest planted all of these and then put them on my pizza. I'd like to harvest all of these and then put them on my pizza.
Very nice. Anybody else want to tell me what their plans are with their pizza garden? Okay. Well, that's about all I have for you guys. I hope you had fun planting a pizza garden and learning about how to take care of a garden and the steps that you take to do that. If you guys could click on this link right here, and that will give you an attendance survey so that we know that you were here. And then if you guys want to